Hey there, it's Heather with Heather's Healing, and we are going to look at the upcoming year, 2025, see what is in store for us, get a feel for the energies. I've already pulled some cards for the collective, so we're going to look at those cards, get the energy of the collective for 2025. And then I also pulled some cards off camera for those that follow me, that follow this channel, that watch the videos either now or in the future. I've pulled cards specifically for us to take a look at those. So we'll look at those a little later in the video here. But I just want to say 2025 is probably going to be a pretty explosive year. So you can take that however you would like to take that. Big energy. So 2025, let's just go ahead and get into it. I have some notes, so I will be looking down to kind of read my notes, and we'll be pulling some cards. Welcome in. Thanks so much for being here, and let's go ahead and get started. I think the cats are all kind of sleeping and doing their own thing. However, I might get interrupted, have to pause and come back, so we'll see how it goes. But again, thank you so much for being here. Oh, I will also be listing a promo code later on in this video for half price readings. In January, I offer my services at half price, and you can book those services in the future as well. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So 2025 is a 9-year, and I'm looking at the numerology of 9 as far as color numerology goes, and then also tarot numerology. So 9, it's masculine energy. It's about taking action. I also find it interesting. Last year was an 8-year, and that's feminine energy. So that's more internal processing, that sort of thing. This year it's a 9. It's masculine energy, and we're being asked to take action. I don't know what it is. It seems like every time I start doing a video, whether you can see my face or not, it feels like there's cobwebs on me or fur or something. I don't know. So anyway, hopefully that's not going to totally distract me. Back into it. Masculine energy, it's intensity, it's achievement, it's success. There's a lot of abundance that can come in this year, a lot of prosperity, a lot of challenges, but the opportunity to overcome those challenges. It's also about fullness, completion, feeling very satisfied. I think somewhere, when I'm getting chills here before I even say it, I think where you can run into some trouble this year is if you become apathetic, if you fall into victimhood. This year is going to be a poop show. Please don't do that. This is a year of you taking action. And Spirit is saying not blind action. You're taking action that you have thought through. You have a path. You have direction. You have an idea of where you're going and what you're doing. So we're not running around like chickens with our heads cut off. So that's really interesting. So avoiding apathy and victimhood. As far as color, the color mirror system goes, 9 is the color of, and just looking at the colors can tell you so much. The colors of 2025 from a color mirrors perspective is red and orange. So we are going to be really focused on the root chakra and sacral chakra. Although I feel a heavier emphasis on the root chakra. Let me just make sure I turn my mic on. Wouldn't that be poopy? Okay, I did. I feel a heavier emphasis on the root chakra this year. So that's going to be really important. Root chakra is talking about it's the basics. It's survival, but this is not just about survival. This is truly, truly living. It's about authenticity, simplicity, the basics, taking care of the physical body. I feel a huge emphasis on the physical body for this upcoming year. Lots of energy focused on the body, becoming healthier, becoming just really taking care of your body. Big focus on that. And in particular, I'm feeling the bones, the structure of our bodies, but a lot of focus on the bones. Inflammation is always something to be aware of. So inflammation, how can we reduce inflammation? Sacral chakras is tapping into your sexuality, creativity, being deeply rooted in, deeply connected, knowing intuitively what's going on with your body. So really pay attention to your body this year. Really tune into it. Do your best to be as healthy as possible, whatever that means for you. Oh, I just had a thought. It just slipped my mind. What else did I want to say about that? It'll come back. But I really feel a focus on the root chakra and the red color. So 9 in the color mirrors is also representing Mars. So Mars energy. So just knowing that could give you a lot of information. Mars energy is fire energy. We're working with fire this year. I love fire energy. I love fiery people. It's not an energy that comes natural to me, but I do love it. It's enthusiasm, it's passion, it's determination. It can be a lot of focus. It can also be chaotic. It can also be destructive. So really interesting energies coming in. The other thing I wanted to mention here before I forget, this is what I was just thinking. I find it interesting that last year was an 8-year and we were focused more on the crown chakra, the upper chakras, going within, really feeling into what our belief systems are, how we are perceiving our world, how we're feeling about our world, tapping into who our authentic self is. And this year we're being asked to put that authentic self, what we learned about ourselves, into practice. It's like integration. I also think it's interesting, last year crown chakra, this year root chakra. We're going down into the lower chakras. These are often the chakras that people don't want to be in because it requires you to physically be in your body. And many of us love, myself included, love to not be in our body. We love to be connecting with spirit. We love to be maybe escaping or running away from ourselves. This year's really going to ask us to be very present and in our bodies. What else did I write down here? So red and orange, fire energy. These are the colors of your life force, how you use your life force, how you feed your life force, what does life force even mean to you, and what is feeding that. How strong is your life force? How strong is your passion for life? How strong is your desire to be here, to live fully, to experience, and experience it all, the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. Orange, I love the color orange, and something to think about with orange is it absorbs trauma. So I think that this is a year where a lot of our traumas that we've been running from or not wanting to see are going to be pulled out of us. So rather than waiting for the universe to pull these energies out, you know what they are. Start taking a look at them and look at them not as things you're trying to run from, but they're experiences that you've had that are full of wisdom, healing, and guidance for others as well. I mean, there's so much that's packed into that. So, allow some of those traumas to surface. But what I love about orange is it helps to absorb that trauma. It's really great if you have PTSD, depression, anger issues. Orange is a really nice, it's kind of like a weighted blanket. It can really help bring a lot of comfort while still keeping you active and excited and really wanting to move forward. So orange is a great color for absorbing that trauma. Um, some other things to think about again with life force: are you strengthening it, or are you depleting it? Um, are you taking the steps to make the changes, or are you hoping that someone else will come in and make those changes for you or save you? Or again, any kind of victim mentality or way of being is going to make it really hard to navigate this year. That will be really difficult. And it could be this year drastic action is needed. The Mars energy can be drastic action. The colors of red and orange and the element of fire, that can be drastic action. It can be sudden, quick changes that come in. And these are probably changes that the universe has been giving you hints about, but we've not followed through, or we haven't wanted to look at it or deal with it. Those things could come up this year. The universe source, it's not an abusive energy. It might feel that way sometimes, but the universe is constantly giving us hints and clues as to what we need, what direction we need to go in, what we should be looking at, things maybe that we should be changing. And if we ignore those, I'm getting chills. If we ignore those signs and signals, that's when the universe will take drastic action on us and, maybe pull the rug out from underneath us, type of a thing. So it could be, if you've been procrastinating on making necessary changes, you might be forced into those changes this year. So take a look at that. Let's see what else I wanted to say. Mars energy also, it governs sexuality, ambition, success, your drive. It also governs weapons, the military, surgery, accidents. It rules Aries and Scorpio. So if you are familiar with Aries and Scorpio energy, it rules those signs. It rules the first and eighth house in astrology. So you can dive deeper into those to get more information on what this year might hold. It's anger and aggression as well. It could be a very volatile year. And there's beauty and destruction in all things. It's finding that sweet spot. Being authentic, honestly, is going to be the best way to roll through this year, is being very authentic. So the fact that Mars governs the military, weapons, that can give you a good idea that, there's going to be a lot of continued hostility in the world. And I think what is really important for us is to really anchor in, to be very grounded, and to really be very honest with ourselves and where we're at in the world, and where we are at in our lives. I think that so I think if you look back over 2024, we were given, Metatron has been telling me that we've all been given very specific, direct clues as to the areas of life that need our focus, and need changes brought in. So looking back over 2024, were there specific patterns that were repeating? Were there specific issues that just kept coming up over and over again? Where were you feeling a lot of frustration or disappointment or apathy last year? Those are all clues as to as to the areas of life and things that we're being asked to make changes in this year. For myself, what I found interesting is last year felt like moving through molasses. I felt like I had no momentum. I wanted to take action, but it's like that momentum and that drive just wasn't there. What I think is just so beautiful is this year we will have that momentum. We will have that energy to work with. You know, we're working with fire energy. So, and again, it's also really paying attention and listening to your body, because we don't want to go into burnout either, because that's something that can happen with fire energy. So think back over 2024 and look at the areas where you were feeling frustrated, angry, apathetic. Those are the areas that you are being invited to take action on and make changes in 2025. Pay attention to your anger in 2025. Pay attention to anger all the time. Anger and frustration are showing you the areas of life that have completed their cycle and need to end, or what needs your attention to transform it. So pay attention. Anger is really asking you to look at something. I know some of the most profound changes I've made in my life is when I finally gotten to the point where I'm so angry I cannot take it for another second, and then I make those changes. Sometimes we need that anger to help motivate us to make the changes that we need to make. So take a look at that in this upcoming year. Mars Mars also asks us to express ourselves, to speak, to articulate how we're feeling, and to be very open and honest about that. I think the more you can be very open and honest about how you are feeling, that's going to help. Be open and honest with yourself. You know, how are you feeling about your life? Again, being inauthentic is not going to serve you at all this year. And in fact, I don't even think you can really run and escape from it either. We'll be getting into the cards here in just a second. I just want to see if that was... Also, take a look at how you express your anger. You can use that anger and you can channel that into something beautiful. I mean, art and music and so many books, so many things have come from anger and people expressing their anger, expressing their grief. I do feel like it's going to be a time where we are needing to express our grief, express our anger. Getting all of that out is going to be really important this year. But this isn't lashing out at others. I mean, we're still very much there's a lot of internal work. We're just going to have more momentum into putting things into action to help transmute, change, whatever it is, whatever action you're being called to take this year. We're going to have the momentum and drive to do that. The other beautiful thing about working with fire energy is it is a purifier. It purifies, it burns through whatever is not serving. It burns through all of it. It's very purifying. So you can also think of the direction of north, or excuse me, the direction of south. If you're in the northern hemisphere, the direction of south is where, in my practice, that's where fire's home is, in the south. That's summer. You can also think of the sun being at the highest position in the sky, which kind of feels like a spotlight is being put on us this year, on our individual selves. So that's something to think about. I'm also hearing you can't hide. So even though there's a lot of internal work that we're still doing in 2025, running and hiding from it, or trying to drink it away, or shop it away, or fitness it away, it's not going to work. So we're just going to have to get very real with ourselves. Let's see, what else did I want to say? Oh, yeah, and Mars is warrior energy. That's the other thing. You know, it's asking us to be a warrior, to fight for... I don't like using the word fight, but to stand up for what is important to us, to advocate for ourselves, to be that person for us, for ourselves. So again, stepping out of the victim um, mentality. 2025 is going to be a year of taking accountability for yourself, for your life, for your actions, your choices, your dreams, and your divine passions. It's all about accountability. So if things aren't going well, if you are finding there's areas of life that are a little lackluster, it's those are that's on you. You're the only one that can fix that. And 2025 is going to really be asking us to take a look at that. So let's go ahead and, oh, it's also, and I think the January new moon, I'll talk more about the snake energy. The Chinese New Year is going to be welcoming in uh, snake energy. So, as far as Chinese astrology goes, I'm a snake. So, that'll be interesting to look at that. But snakes also, for me, they live in the south. They live in the energy of fire. They live in that summer frequency. So that heat, that shedding, um, yeah, and again, burning away whatever doesn't serve. And what the other thing that is really interesting about fire, you think about like a forest burning down, or you think about a home burning down, not that we want to call those energies in, but it clears the way. And then the only other option you have is to rebuild, to replant, to regrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe dreams and passions and things that you have been really, really focused on, or you've put a lot of energy in, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those fade out and die off in 2025. I also wouldn't be surprised if there are energies around maybe projects, passions, or ideas that you had years ago. I'm hearing 10 years ago specifically, that might be coming to the forefront. Maybe, 10 years ago wasn't the time, but 2025 might be the year to bring some of those projects, ideas into action. The other thing to think about with the energy of Mars in tarot, Mars represents the tower. So this is also the type of energy that we're looking at. So when I think of like fire and things burning down, I often think of the tower card. Everything's being destroyed so you can rebuild, and rebuild back in a more solid way. I think the tower card really gives a good description of how this year can go. It can be very explosive, and again, that can be, everything is always conspiring for our highest good and for our benefit. So just keep that in mind. But that doesn't mean that it's always a fun experience. And I think that's also why we're really being asked to ground into our root chakra, really keeping it very simple, keeping our bodies healthy, you know, really being focused on bringing in as much joy and happiness as we can, because that will help us navigate the tougher times. But I am very excited. I will say I feel very excited and optimistic for 2025, just because we have that momentum. We have the energy of fire to help motivate us, to help get us excited, to help push us forward. And I think that will be really helpful. I know that's definitely an energy that I've been needing more of. What else did I want to say about that? I think it will be easier than it has been in the past couple of years to make difficult changes, because we have that momentum. And I feel like we're going to have that energy too, that physical energy, especially if we're really taking care of ourselves. I do think it's going to be really important to be very mindful going into 2025, because again, Mars can put an emphasis on, accidents or physical injuries. So be very, mindful of what you're doing and pay attention to what you're doing to help avoid some of those things. And I think I did mention that I felt a big focus on the bones. So whatever we can do to strengthen our bones, strengthen the structure of our body will be well aspected this year as well. So let's go ahead and look at, I have a fun, so I started feeling back in October the Alice in Wonderland energy for 2025. So I found a cute Alice in Wonderland deck, which I wasn't looking for. Here's the deck that I'm going to be using. I wasn't looking for that deck, but at the last pagan market that we went to, I'm like, I'm just going to go over and look at this guy's booth, and he had that deck, and I'm like, I'm going to use that deck for the New Year's reading. That's going to be perfect. What I love about the Alice in Wonderland energy is there's a lot of carefree energy. It's really fun and whimsical, yet it can also be incredibly frustrating, maybe a little creepy and kind of annoying too. I also think it's interesting that the Alice in Wonderland story came through back in the Victorian era, and that was a time when people were really curious about other realities, about other possibilities, magic, and inviting, spirit into their lives to help work with them. But I like that energy of imagining other realities, because I feel like we're being really invited to dream big and to bring in new realities for ourselves, our family, our communities, and the planet as well. So for the collective, let's go ahead and start with the cards that I pulled for the collective. And I think you guys are going to really love these, especially when we're talking about Mars energy. I just got done showing you that Tower card, which feels like could be heavy energy. I will say I'm not feeling that heavy energy, although there will be heavy energy. I mean, it's Mars energy. But look at these cards. These are fantastic. So, and we'll pull some tarot too. So the cards I pulled were peace. What I love about this is the guy in the middle, Buddha energy. He's in a red robe. He's centered in a very beautiful place. I love like the cherry blossoms and the pinks and the reds, but this is peace that he is bringing in for himself. This is peace that he is grounding into. This isn't peace that the world is delivering to you. This is peace that you're creating for yourself. This is peace that you're inviting in from spirit. And anytime, I see doves, I always think of the angelic realm. So inviting the angels in, inviting ascended masters in, inviting Sandalphon would be a great energy. When I point over here, I always feel Sandalphon on my left and Metatron on my right. Sandalphon, he's the perfect energy to be working with during 2025. Sandalphon really taps into plants, crystals, the planet, children, animals. What brings you peace? Do you cultivate peace for yourself, now? How can you welcome in peace? What do you do? Coming up with an action plan for when times might get tough or be when things are a little rocky. Having an action plan ahead of time can be really helpful. How can you calm yourself down? How can you bring in peace? And bringing in that energy of peace also helps to lower inflammation too, in the body. The other card that came in that I loved is card number 1. It says abundance, and I do feel like the opportunity for abundance is huge this year. And again, this is a look at the collective on the planet, which we are a part of. So abundance, big opportunities for abundance, which is really beautiful. Here's the other card that I thought I just loved. It says fulfillment. feeling very satisfied. And again, this goes in really well with the abundance card. So a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy, a lot of satisfaction. But this comes from you being very authentic and living your life from an authentic place. I think I'll save that card for the end. So let's go ahead and pull some tarot cards and see what else Spirit wants to say about the collective. Anything regarding peace, abundance, fulfillment. Let's pull some cards. Let's pull 3 cards. So looking at the collective energy, looking into 2025 for the collective. Well, what else would you like us to know besides what we've already talked about? What else would you like us to know? So the degree of your abundance and success is going to be directly tied into how well you can anchor into your body, how well you can tap into your authenticity. Integrity is going to be a huge key to this success as well. All right, so should we start with 3 cards? Let's do 3 cards and see. What else do we need to know about 2025? I feel like that one wants to come out. I would tip the camera down, but then I'm afraid I might mess something up. That's interesting. When I said I'm afraid I might mess something up, they're saying mess up, let things get messy. We can't get it wrong. Okay. So we have the 3 of Wands. I'll show you the cards and then I'll tap into it. So we've got the White Rabbit. We've got the 3 of Wands. It doesn't want to come in very, there we go. We've got the 3 of Wands. We have the 6 of Cups. It came out in reverse, but let me show you. I love this 6 of Cups in this card. We have, is it little cupcakes or sundaes or something? We've got the White Rabbit. We have Alice. We've got a flying elephant up there for some reason. But that came out in reverse, and then we have the Queen of Cups, which I really feel like we're being invited into that Queen of Cups energy. It's a masculine energy asking us to take action, but it's action that will really help us. The action that we're taking this year is going to help nurture and nourish ourselves. And become more authentic. That's the other piece. And in doing so, it'll make us more available to be in service to other people as well. So the 3 of Wands, how do you want to live your life moving forward? What do you want your future to look like in the next 5 years? 5 to 8 years is what I'm hearing. So getting a good feel, and I think we're going to have a better idea more so in the spring. It feels like how we're wanting to move forward. I think we're going to be getting a lot of clarity, and for some, these will be really big changes. This could be changing careers, going back to school, divorce for some, getting married for others, deciding to have children. Like there's some really big and hard decisions. And I feel like the things that are ending in 2025 I don't think it's going to surprise you. I feel like the things that will be ending are, especially when it comes to relationships, you already kind of knew it was coming. You've just been avoiding it. So, but not letting those things, um, destroy you. How do you want to rebuild? How do you want to move forward? What needs to be rebuilt? What can help bring in greater peace, for the collective? These are all things that we're going to be looking at. And I think that if you can be really present with it as much as you can, um, it's going to be easier to move through. I think where that tower energy of sheer destruction is going to come in is when, is if someone is not willing to be present with what really is, or you're really pushing against it, you're fighting against something. I think that's when things are really going to become really messy and more difficult than what they need to be. The Six of Cups, I love that we have the cups energy coming in, because cups, I always associate cups too with the sacral chakra as well. It's your heart chakra, upper heart, sacral chakra. It's your emotions, it's your feelings, it's how you digest life through your emotions. It's kind of a weird way of seeing it, but we're always constantly processing information. We're always digesting information, whether it's through our eyes, through um, our thoughts, our what we're hearing, how we're feeling. That's all energy that we're digesting. And I feel like there's going to be a big purge this year of finally releasing traumas from the past, finding peace with a lot of those traumas, being able to close the door on some of those chapters of our life, because we've processed all that we can process. We've healed as best as we can. And we're taking the wisdom and what we learn from those experiences, and we're moving forward. So I love that we have the cups energy coming in, because it's that shedding of those old traumas and wounds that is really helping give us the energy and the momentum to take the action that we need to take in this upcoming year. We're finally letting the wounds heal. I feel like for a lot of us, there have been these wounds from years and years and years ago that we have just not allowed to heal, even though you've done the work, you've processed as best as you could, but it's what you know, and it's how you've identified with yourself, and it's how for some, if you have based your identity or your life on these wounds, that's going to fall apart for you this year. um, it's time to let those wounds heal and stop picking at them. It's almost like, they scab over and they're starting to heal, and for some you're pulling that scab off because that's what you know, and you're not sure how to move forward. Moving forward into the unknown is freaking some people out. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. So, leaving those things in the past and moving forward. You're not going to have a choice. And that's interesting. It would be interesting to see how that shows up for people. So that's definitely something I'm going to be paying attention to in my life, and also, people that I do readings with. That will be really interesting. We have, the Queen of Cups is asking us, how can we support ourselves emotionally? How can we nurture ourselves? How can we be of support to others? And of course, we have to be the more healthy and happy that we are, the more in service we can be to others. You can't be a hot mess and be in service to other people. You just won't have the capacity for it. Um, and the Queen of Cups also is really welcoming in emotional stability. It's sort of like being the eye of the storm. It can be complete chaos around you, but you're calm, cool, centered. You know where you're going. You know what actions to take, and you're being divinely guided and led. That's the other energy with cups, is that's spirit. It's tapping into the energy of spirit. It's allowing your guides and guardians to help navigate you. And is also knowing that you are okay, and we will all be okay. Everything is okay. I laugh because I sometimes say that to myself. You're okay. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Or I'll tell the cats, you guys are okay. Really, I'm just trying to reassure myself. So, finding that calm, cool, collective part of you that is that comes natural. And I think the more, well, I don't think I know, the more you're on a spiritual path and the more you're doing your work, the easier it is to ground and center yourself. So collectively, I mean, this is really beautiful energy. Not to say it's not going to be chaotic and, a lot, but it's okay. We're going to know how to navigate it. And I love that the collective energy, that's good. I feel like seeing these cards as the collective energy, like this is really good. To me, that is saying that the majority of people, despite what you might see on the news and stuff, the majority of people are really wanting peace, joy, happiness, and they're not afraid to do the work to get to that place. They're also not afraid to sacrifice and let go of old identities, businesses, things that maybe you've put a lot of money, a lot of energy into. If it's time for those things to die and it's time for you to let them go, we're going to be brave enough to let them go. So beautiful energies for the collective. Honestly, I kind of didn't expect those cards. And of course, there's going to be some that are going to totally fight against that. But I think that, finding that peaceful, centered place within yourself is going to help navigate, because it is going to be, there's a lot of volatility out there. And I feel like the energies that are coming in, it's almost like having a piece of sand in your eye, or in my case, cat fur in my eye, and you can't get it out. And it's like constantly just in there agitating. It's not horribly discomforting, but it's annoying as hell. Is that type of energy. It's a very subtle, slow kind of grind. And if you're ignoring that, at some point, you're going to explode. At some point, you're going to lash out. So I do feel like of course, there's going to be those people out there that are experiencing that really slow, just irritating grind of what they are avoiding. That's why I feel like when I say I don't feel like we can run and hide anymore, that discomfort is going to become uncomfortable enough this year that we've got to take action. So let's go ahead and look at, the other thing I wanted to say, the other card I pulled for the collective, and I love this. It's the color energy of white. We've got a diamond there, and we also have an angel wing. So just again, I really feel like it's going to be a lot easier to tap into the angels, the angelic realm this year, calling on our guides. But the card says purity and innocence. And that brings me to the energy of simplicity. I also love the energy of the diamond. So taking a look at all facets of ourselves, looking at maybe the facets of ourselves that we've wanted to ignore or we've not wanted to look at. So, tapping into that, taking a look at that. And again, that energy of white, that purification, that ties right into the energy of fire. Because again, fire is very purifying. So those are the cards that I'm getting for the collective. I just want to see what's on the bottom of the deck. Queen of Pentacles, nice. So Queen of Pentacles, see if she can come in. Tapping into that abundance. We've got the Queens, and I love that. So even though we're dealing with a lot of masculine energy, it's how can that masculine energy help to shape and mold that feminine energy that we all have. But Queen of Pentacles, being very wise with your resources. It's also talking about having physical abundance, money, also having the resources to make the changes that we need to make. It's being very independent, thinking for ourselves, being very resourceful, using what we have, whether that's physical things, wisdom, it's all of that. So there is definitely mastery that's coming in this year, which I really love. That's really beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards I pulled for the collective community here. For those of you that follow me, that subscribe to this channel, that get readings, that support me in any way, I've tapped into our energy and I have cards here for us. So let's look at those, and then I have a message from Metatron I'm going to read, and then I think we'll conclude this video. All right. So I did want to say, if you do want to book a one-on-one session, my sessions are half price the month of January, and you can book those readings anytime during the year. You can book them up to a year out. So we could do a New Year's reading if you'd like, and we can look at each quarter of your year. You maybe want to book a birthday reading, half price with code FIRE25. Okay, so let's look at the cards I pulled for us. Let me put these cards away. And thanks for being here with me, you guys. Okay, so here are the cards that I pulled for us, and then we'll pull some tarot. I love this. Hold on one sec. I need some water. Okay, I've been feeling this with us for quite some time. We got the card of simplicity, which feels very refreshing to me. And that was one of the keywords, or one of the themes that Spirit brought up for me, was this year would be refreshing. And that energy, I really feel that with the card of simplicity. So we got simplicity. And I love this. Opening. I love, what do we have? A lotus. Looks like a lotus flower. The card of opening, being open. And when you are open, that's when you can receive. That's when abundance comes in, new opportunities come in. There's some really beautiful energies that come in when we can be open. I also love the corally color here. That brings in a lot of strengthening of our life force. It brings in the energy of protection, resilience. I really love that. And here's the card that I love so much for us, because I have just felt this energy for our collective in 2025. It's card number 33. It says love, but look at how much she looks like Alice in Wonderland. So I just love that. I love the roses around her, that opening and unfolding of who we came here to be. That unbecoming of what we thought maybe we should be. So, that unbecoming, that opening up, that unfolding. But I love that she looks like Alice in Wonderland, and that was very much the energy that I was feeling for us. You know, just being open minded and dreaming in what could be possible and shutting out what the world is telling you is possible. Because, man, if you listen to the news or anything like that, it feels like there is nothing possible except for horrible things. And that is not true. But we do have to create this for ourselves. So and this is going to be a year of expression, maybe explosive expression, but expression. And that can be really fun and really beautiful. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of beautiful, new, creative, works of art that come out, acting, performance type things, things that action based, beautiful things. I don't know. I would not be surprised. And it does feel like people are learning how to channel, that sadness, grief, their trauma in really healthy, beautiful ways, and in ways that help bring in a higher frequency for the rest of the planet. All right, Spirit, 3 or 4 cards for the collective here. And thanks so much for being here. And this message is for anyone watching now or in the future. Looking at the collective energy for 2025 for us here, for our community. Okay, so there's one. Let's get at least 2 more. I have to raise them really high for everybody to see. Interesting cards here. I was just thinking about chaotic energy, and we've got one here. So let me show you what we've got. We have the 7 of Pentacles. I'll show you the cards and then I'll tell you what I'm getting from these. Right in the middle, which I love, we have the Ace of Swords. Speaking of expression, that throat chakra energy. And that's interesting because I really feel like my throat is kind of tightening up. So there's definitely an energy here within our collective that is not wanting to express or speak what needs to be spoken. That's going to be a big thing this year. Tough conversations, things that you've not wanted to say. It's going to come out. Lots of throat chakra work for us to be doing in this group here. And then we have the 5 of Wands. This was the chaotic card that I felt coming out here. So there's the 5 of Wands. So we have the 7 of Pentacles coming up for us, which I really love. This card, it can be delayed success, but it's being patient and knowing that what is meant for you is going to find you. These are, the seeds that you've planted. Yes, it is going to be fruitful. Like I said before, I feel like there's a lot of abundance that's coming through for us this year. And maybe we've been really patient. I feel like this year we'll start to see the beginnings of that growth or that success coming in. I'm also hearing this, for some, it's going to be a need to pivot. And maybe you don't need to completely drop or end those things that you don't feel are going to be fruitful, but maybe it's time to approach it in a different way. If you have a business that isn't taking off and you've been working at it for a while, maybe it's wanting to morph and change into something else. There's new energy coming in for our success and projects. So be open, be open to those things looking differently. Tap into that imagination, and be open. We have the Ace of Swords, which I love. This is mental clarity. These are new ideas. Again, new ways of approaching, I don't want to say old problems, but maybe a new way of approaching relationships, um, problems, just in a new way. We're going to have new clarity there. And I really love that. There's also positive health news coming in. So if you have been suffering with something, this is positive health and improvement in health, new new ideas and ways of taking better care of your body, new suggestions coming in to help improve our health. So being very open to that, being mindful of that. This is also coming up with ways of handling conflict, how to maybe express ourselves in volatile situations, which leads me into our five of wands, which we have. I don't know if can you guys see the flamingos? Do you remember when they were trying to play croquet with the flamingos and the flamingos weren't cooperating? So to me, the flamingos are representing those energies, those people out there that are just purposely pushing our buttons just because they just like to be dicks. That's what I'm feeling with this card. How I feel like we're going to have a greater capacity of, first off, recognizing those types of energies for what they are and being able to really see, oh, this is what's going on. Is this, somebody just being really competitive? Is this someone just trying to push my buttons to see if they can get me riled up? Is this someone, and there are people out there, I call them disruptors. They're people that their life force is energized by disrupting other people. That's why I call them disruptors. They're people out there. They're also static. To me, their energy feels staticky, but they're there to rub you the wrong way. That's what feeds their life force. That's what they get off on. That's what builds them up. So I feel like we're going to have a lot more clarity on recognizing what this type of energy is, seeing it, understanding it, and also understanding how to navigate that in a different way. It's this is like the psychology of those types of people. Like it feels like being downloaded, this information from spirit on how to navigate those situations. So again, really trust, ask your angels, ground in. At times when you're dealing with difficult people, competitive, jealousy type of energy, I feel like we're going to have the information that we need to navigate that. And this is also representing, obstacles and challenges too. So I feel like we're going to, and also what is really beautiful about this type of energy is it gives us a lot of insight into our psychology and what's going on with us. So there's a lot of wisdom that can come in through these challenges, these difficult people and difficult situations. And truly that is where we get our greatest wealth of information and wisdom and all of that, and our greatest growth comes from challenge. We don't get that great expansion from things going our way. So the other card, which fits really well into all of this, is the card. It says the cosmos. It's the card Cosmos, and it says mirrors you. So what is it that these challenges and difficult people are mirroring in us? What is it what are they showing us? Spirit uses those people and situations to show us something about ourselves that we're not seeing. What facet of the diamond are we not seeing? What's being revealed here? There's always something there. So if you're seeing a pattern of people around you that have the same thing in common and you're kind of like, what is going on here? Take a look at that, because there's a message there for you. Those patterns and people are showing you something about yourself and your life that you're not recognizing yet. So there's going to be a lot of that coming through for us in 2025 too. And being open to that. And also then having great compassion and love for ourselves too. Nurturing ourselves, caring for ourselves, not beating ourselves up. This is not the year. And I do want to say, if you have addictions or unhealthy ways of handling anger, grief, any of that, this year those addictions could become very, very destructive. I mean, they're already destructive. This is not the year to be caring. Well, that's not caring for yourself. Don't do that. Care for yourself. Be loving to yourself. It could be very easy to get on a destructive path this year. I could totally see that with people. This could be a year that could, well, I don't even want to bring that energy in. Just be very, very mindful of that. I also want to point out it's the dodecahedron that's on here, and the dodecahedron taps into the throat chakra too. So do not let things fester. Do not let things go unexpressed. Even if you don't know how to express it to that person, write it down, get it out, express it in some way. But I really feel like, because it's a year of action and taking action, especially with those difficult things and those challenges, I feel like actually speaking it is going to be better than writing it. Singing would be really great to help open up the throat chakra. I mean, yelling too. Don't yell at people, but if yelling helps you get it out and work it out, and you can do that in a safe way, do that. That would be very helpful. Okay, so I have a message here. I think I'll close with this because I've been going for a while here. And there's so much more I could say about the energies of 2025, but I really hope that this kind of gives us a good feel of what is coming in and how we can work with this energy. So here's a message from Metatron. I wrote this down, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says, "This is the year to make dreams realities. It won't be easy and will require taking inventory of you, your worries, your beliefs, your inactions. It is a year to allow what is uncomfortable to mold and transform you. Allow this fire energy to decalcify and purify you. Get to the bare bones of who you really are, the you that we know you as, the you that is a divine, eternal being, with love and support always." So that was a message from Metatron. And that does really feel like this is a year that we can make our dreams realities. So be sure you're dreaming in a beautiful dream and that it is authentic and true to you. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. My info, if you'd like to book a one-on-one, will be below. And then we'll take a deeper look at snake energy in the new year, on the Chinese New Year. So blessings to you all. Take care. If you have any questions, if you want me to expand on anything in this video, in another video, let me know. And Happy New Year. Blessings on your 2025. May it be filled with peace, joy, abundance, um, and new memories, happy memories. All right, take care, you guys. Oh, I knew I was going to forget something. So I forgot to mention the crystals that I think would be very helpful in 2025. Um, Jaspers, any jaspers. Jaspers are incredibly protective, comforting, nurturing. So any jaspers, opals, which is why I'm wearing my opals. I thought if I wore the necklace, it would help me remember to talk about the crystals. Opals are all about transformation and change, and they do hold fire energy. So working with any opals would be really helpful in 2025. Fire agates, those would be fantastic. I mentioned jaspers. I like the grounding of that. Rubies would be fantastic. Again, you've got that red energy, but rubies also welcome in a lot of wisdom. They connect into the root chakra, sacral chakra. I also love garnets. Again, very grounding. I love that deep red color. They're it's a very rich crystal to work with. So those are some of the crystals. I totally forgot to mention that. The other thing I forgot to mention was the card on the bottom of the deck was the Fool, and that was for the collective, the Heather's Healing Collective. So um, I love the energy of the Fool. So okay, hopefully I didn't forget anything else. All right, happy New Year, you guys.